Now, a new analysis shows that the 6-ton iconic altar stone at the heart of Stonehenge originated from northeastern Scotland rather than southwest Wales.
For centuries, Stonehenge has fascinated and baffled the world, rising from the green fields of Salisbury Plain in England. It is more than just an arrangement of stones. It is a symbol of mystery, ingenuity, and ancient belief. From a distance, the monument appears simple. Massive upright stones topped with horizontal lintels forming a circle. But a closer look reveals the enormity of the challenge. Some of these stones weigh between 50 and 70 tons. Without modern machines, cranes, or trucks, how did prehistoric builders move them into place? This question has haunted historians for generations. Even more astonishing is that some of the smaller stones, known as blue stones, were traced to quarries in Wales over 125 miles away. Imagine people thousands of years ago dragging or transporting multi-ton stones across rivers, valleys, and hills without wheels or iron tools. It seems impossible, and yet it happened. Theories about Stonehenge's purpose have been countless. Some believed it was a burial site, and excavations have indeed uncovered cremated human remains. Others proposed it was a temple for rituals, a sacred gathering place for ceremonies, or even an astronomical observatory. Recent research suggests that Stonehenge was carefully aligned with the sun, functioning as a kind of solar calendar. The 30 sarsen stones in the outer circle may have represented days in a month, while 5 massive trilithons symbolized additional days needed to complete the solar year. Scholars now believe that the builders had an advanced understanding of astronomy, allowing them to track time, seasons, and even leap years. This would have been invaluable for deciding when to plant crops, celebrate festivals, and perform religious rituals. But Stonehenge held mysteries beyond the alignment of stones. Acoustic experiments show that voices and music resonated powerfully within the circle while outside sounds were muffled. This suggests it was designed not only for sight, but also for sound. Sacred theater where chants, songs, and prayers were magnified, making ceremonies awe-inspiring. Myths added even more intrigue. Medieval tales claimed the wizard Merlin used magic to bring the stones from Ireland. Others said giants built it, or that Romans or Druids were responsible. But science tells us another story, with new methods, like geological analysis and radiocarbon dating. We now know Stonehenge was constructed thousands of years before the Druids or Romans lived in Britain. Far from being magical, it was the result of extraordinary human effort, skill, and determination. The more we uncover, the clearer it becomes. Stonehenge was not just a monument, but a symbol of human resilience and unity in the face of impossible odds. For years, scholars thought they had a clear picture of Stonehenge's construction. The giant sarsen stones were local to southern England, while the smaller blue stones came from Wales. The altar stone at the monument center was also believed to be Welsh, but a groundbreaking study overturned this assumption. Researchers discovered that the altar stone didn't come from Wales at all. It came from Scotland's far north, in the Orcadian Basin, hundreds of miles away. This revelation is nothing short of astonishing. How did people in the Stone Age transport a 6-ton block across land and sea without modern technology? The journey would have required boats, ropes, sledges, and extraordinary planning. Moving such a stone across rivers and rough seas shows that these communities were not isolated farmers, but part of an advanced, connected network. It proves they were capable of engineering feats that rival modern construction in determination and complexity. But why choose a stone from such a distant place when closer options were available? Archaeologists believe the altar stone held special, symbolic, or spiritual significance. Its placement at the heart of Stonehenge suggests it was not chosen for convenience, but for meaning. Perhaps it represented unity across distant tribes, or perhaps the stone itself was revered as sacred. Infused with cultural memory, that this discovery reshaped how we see Stonehenge. It was not the work of a single locale group, but a monument created through collaboration between communities across Britain. Scotland, Wales, and England were linked through shared projects, ideas, and rituals. Transporting the altar stone shows us that the builders valued connection and meaning over practicality. They were willing to endure immense struggle for a purpose greater than survival, something deeply spiritual. In practical terms, this also proves that prehistoric Britons were highly skilled navigators. To move a stone from northern Scotland to southern England, they likely traveled by sea, hugging coastlines before pulling the stone inland. It demonstrates a level of organization and teamwork rarely attributed to people of that era. More importantly, it redefines Stonehenge as a national, not just local, monumentous sacred place that represented cooperation and cultural identity across the British Isles. Far from being isolated builders, the creators of Stonehenge were visionaries connected by shared faith, ritual, and purpose. The first real clues about who built Stonehenge came in the 1800s. Early archaeologists dug around the site and discovered fragments of pottery, tools, and even animal bones. At first, these seemed unremarkable, but then came a crucial discovery: cremated human remains. This indicated that Stonehenge was used for burials, and importantly, it linked the monument to the Bronze Age. At that time, cremation was rare, practiced mainly during the early Bronze Age period, around 2500 BC. This changed everything. Until then, many thought Stonehenge was Roman or Druidic, but the remains pushed its timeline thousands of years earlier. Soon, archaeologists began linking Stonehenge to the Bell Beaker people, a group that arrived in Britain around 2400 BC. They were named after their distinctive bell-shaped pottery and are credited with introducing bronze to the region. Bronze was revolutionary compared to stone, was stronger, sharper, and changed how people built and farmed. Finding bronze tools at Stonehenge showed that the Bell Beaker people played a direct role in its construction. They were not just builders, they were innovators. They had the tools, skills, and organization to shape stones, dig earthworks, and plan massive structures. Their presence also revealed that Stonehenge was more than a ceremonial site. It was a cultural center tied to burial, ritual, and technological progress. The cremated remains suggested that Stonehenge was a place of reverence, where life and death were intertwined in sacred ceremonies. This discovery corrected centuries of myths. Stonehenge was not the work of magical giants or Romans, but of real people living in the Bronze Age. It showed us that the builders had advanced knowledge, social organization, and spiritual purpose. For the first time, Stonehenge was firmly rooted in human history, tied to a community that left behind tools, pottery, and a legacy of innovation. Another breakthrough revealed that Stonehenge's stones had a past life elsewhere. Archaeologists working in Wales discovered empty stone holes arranged in a circle at a site called Wan Mon. These holes matched the size and shape of the bluestones found at Stonehenge. The evidence suggested that Stonehenge's bluestones were not freshly quarried for Salisbury Plain, but were reused, transported from an earlier monument in Wales. This finding was shocking. It meant Stonehenge was built not only from local materials, but from sacred stones with a history of their own. The act of dismantling an older stone circle and transporting its pieces 150 miles shows that these stones carried deep symbolic meaning. They weren't just rocks, they were vessels of memory and identity imbued with spiritual power. Moving them demonstrated the builders' determination to preserve cultural continuity, even across vast distances. The discovery also reframed Stonehenge as part of a much larger sacred network. Instead of standing alone, it was the centerpiece of a wider landscape of stone circles, burial sites, and ceremonial grounds stretching across Britain. People likely traveled from faraway regions to participate in rituals there. uniting distant communities under shared traditions. The reuse of stones also reveals Stonehenge's evolving purpose. It wasn't a static monument, but one that grew and changed, adapting to the needs of generations. Each relocation or rearrangement reflected a continuing dialogue between the builders and their beliefs. It became a gathering place for ceremony, tradition, and unity. Far from being a single act of construction, Stonehenge was the product of centuries of cultural continuity. Stonehenge was not built overnight, developed over stages spanning more than 1,000 years. Around 3000 BCE, builders dug a circular ditch and erected wooden posts or small stones, forming the earliest version of the monument. Centuries later, around 2500 BCE, they brought in the massive sarsen stones and arranged them in the iconic circle and trilithon structures that still stand today. Even after this, the builders continued modifying the site-moving bluestones, rearranging alignments and adding new features. This showed that Stonehenge remained central to spiritual and cultural life for generations. Modern technology has uncovered even more. Ground-penetrating scans revealed a hidden prehistoric landscape surrounding Stonehenge burial mounds, pits, wooden structures, and ceremonial paths. This proved that Stonehenge wasn't isolated, but part of a vast sacred complex. It was a hub of ritual, pilgrimage, and cultural identity for ancient Britain. For centuries, myths clouded its origins. Some claimed giants built it. Others credited Romans, and in the 1700s, many believed Druids constructed it. But scientific analysis, especially radiocarbon dating, proved that Stonehenge predated Druids and Romans by thousands of years. The truth is more compelling. Ordinary prehistoric people achieved the extraordinary, enduring immense hardship, sacrifice, and possibly even loss of life to see their vision realized. Building Stonehenge required not only physical strength, but unity, leadership, and purpose. It demanded entire societies to pool resources, coordinate labor, and commit to a goal that transcended survival. That is why Stonehenge continues to inspire awe today. It stands not only as a monument of stone, but as a monument of human willpower and imagination. Despite centuries of research, one truth remains: Stonehenge continues to guard secrets, inviting us to look deeper, wonder harder, and never stop asking, what else lies hidden beneath its stones?